They pretty much had well over a dozen charter deals that have went right through their fingers to make happen. I think it's going to transfer over to another part of it, which is the 2311 Front Row Motorsports lawsuit, because here comes TJ in here. And you'd also have these drivers that Dodge is going to go after when they come into this series. What better idea than Rick Hendrick, Spire Motorsports, and the former Rick Ware all building this serious alliance?
3, 2, 1.
What's up, everyone? Hope everybody out there is off to an amazing week. It sure has been a hellaciously hot one, I'll tell you that. So hope everybody out there staying cool. Gonna be a hot one at the racetrack, so stay hydrated. Have a good weekend out there. But man, I want to talk about this deal right here with Rick Ware Racing being sold. It's kind of a little talk of the town right now, everything going on with this. Man, I'm going to tell you, I think this sale right here is going to be one hell of a shakeup. Way more than anybody's really thinking about right now, but I do think this is going to be a big shakeup in the NASCAR world. And I'm going to get into this here in just a moment about how this is going to affect the lawsuits. And man, manufacturers, a lot of cool things. But the thing about this is there's not like a whole lot of people talking about the sale, the purchaser of this, other than some minor details, things like that. But this was Rick Ware Racing is selling to TJ Poocher. Pretty sure that's the way you pronounce it. Haven't shook his hand to meet him to say, hey, how you doing? But pretty sure that's the way it's pronounced. But the interesting part about this is this man has been involved in the charters for a long time. Let's just say that. He knows a hell of a lot about the charter system and what's going on with this. And the reason why is because he pretty much brokered the deals for the charter systems. That was him and Jeff Dickerson with Spire Sports. That's exactly what they did. They pretty much had well over a dozen charter deals that have went right through their fingers to make happen. So a lot of knowledge in there. And the interesting part about this was back in 2018 when Furniture Row was trying to sell their deal, nobody wanted it. They wanted $6 million for this charter. Nobody wanted to touch it. At that time, people were thinking like $4 million, $6 million. Hell no. Nobody wants that. They did have a couple of deals that kind of were in the works, but everything fell through. And these two gentlemen got the idea of like, well, why don't we buy it? Why don't we make it happen? So they looked into it, and the bad part was they didn't have the money. They didn't have the money to do it. They didn't have the $6 million to make this happen. But they had friends. And they had a bank that loaned them money. And then another friend, former NASCAR owner, Todd Braun. Not Todd Brown, Todd Braun, who loaned them the rest of the money. And from that point, they bought that race team. They started Spire Motorsports. And, this is cool in so many ways because if you go back and look at Spire Motorsports at the beginning, really wasn't that great of a team. Things were just not really happening for them. It was kind of a back benchmarker type team. But over the years, they progressed pretty amazingly. And if you look at this year alone, Carson Hocevar, he's the talk of the town week in and week out. There's not a week that's going by here lately that you're not talking about Carson because they're competitive and things have really, really changed for this team. So they have went from being a charter that nobody wanted to a team that was just trying and struggling to come up through to pretty much being contenders right now. And I think it's going to just continue to improve as things go on. Now, the interesting part about this is that TJ, through this, more recently, decided he wanted out. Wanted to sell his part and get out of this, and that's exactly what happened. It looked like he was going to walk off and, go do some other business deals and everything else. But here he is. He's back in NASCAR, making news yesterday for everybody that he was purchasing Rick Ware Racing. And this is very interesting to me in so many ways because, for one, I really not see Rick Ware selling. I figured he would hold on to these charters for a good while to see what would happen to them, the values and everything else. So I find this very interesting. Now, one of the aspects that keeps coming up about this is the lawsuit with Legacy. And I find this very interesting myself right here because it's a good play if that was the case, because Rick Ware is still going to stay on as a partner, but TJ is going to be the owner. So this throws a big wrench into that Legacy lawsuit because Legacy is claiming that they had a deal to purchase the charter from Rick Ware Racing, the one that RFK currently leases. There was a transaction, a down payment made on this, I think $750,000 that Rick Ware said, nope, you could have this back. We'll square this up this way, but Legacy files a lawsuit. Rick Ware files a counter lawsuit. Apparently, there was some stuff in the contracts that wasn't right. Basically, some of the years weren't right with it, and the charters, because this is a number 27 charter and a number 36 charter, and a lot of conflict, a lot of things, but it's got to play out. But the interesting part is, if Rick Ware doesn't own a charter, how the hell is Legacy going to get it? They could go sue Rick Ware, obviously, for everything else in civil court and things like that. But I don't see how they could get this charter unless a judge stepped in and said the sale was wrong and everything else, which would take a charter away from TJ, which I don't see happening. So it's going to be very interesting. It's going to be a very interesting deal, because if that happened, then does TJ sue Rick Ware for the 2 charters that he was buying? Man, it could be very, really interesting. But I think it's going to end this lawsuit in so many ways, at least as far as the NASCAR part of it involvement. And I think it's actually going to transfer over to, what the hell was that? I think it's going to transfer over to another part of it, which is the 2311 Front Row Motorsports lawsuit, because here comes TJ in here. Now, Legacy was apparently paying $45 million for this charter from Rick Ware. And here comes TJ saying these things are worth $75 million. So this is very interesting. And he's also siding with NASCAR. He's siding with the France family, saying this is a valuable asset. It's something that's going to continue to grow. You're making money in NASCAR, and you're owning a franchise, basically, that's going to continue to go up in value. So I think NASCAR is going to really use this to their advantage in so many ways against 2311 and Front Row Motorsports to show, hey, here you go. This is what these things are worth. We got a guy coming in to buy these charters right now, who, if this was a failing deal, why would he do that? Why would he want to do something like this? And then also you take a look at, all the teams now got to throw in all their financial data over the years and things like that. When you got Rick Ware Racing, who's had his share of charters through from beginning days, and they're going back to get all this data. So they're going to see the different things that happen all through these years. And the other key part about this, too, is that Spire Motorsports, when TJ was there with it, everything, they paid $40 million for BJ McLeod's charter. So all this is going to come into play, and I think this is really going to affect the 2311 Front Row lawsuit. So 2 lawsuits right now. This guy just threw a wrench in, big time. And the other interesting aspect is RFK Racing, who leases the charter from Rick Ware Racing for the Ryan Preece number 60. At the end of the next year, will be gone, would be returned to whatever race team this becomes after the sale. So what's that do with RFK? Does Brad K, does he just retire, let Ryan take over in the seat? Do they have to find another charter? If they do, where the hell is the charters coming from? Well, this is the interesting part right here that I find really interesting, because so many people are talking about Dodge. Dodge is coming in. Dodge has got to deal with this. That's why he's buying this, because things like this are going to happen. It's a possibility. It's very much a possibility with this. But here's the other thing I don't hear a lot of people talking about, is Dodge coming into this series doesn't have to start a new team. Everybody's looking at it as they're going to start new teams and things like that. But what about the aspect if they switch to a team, a charter team already? What if they switch to a couple different charter teams out there and put Dodge in those positions instead of the manufacturers they're with now? With that, charter system stays the same. And NASCAR still has 4 charters available that they've been holding on to pretty much since the beginning, for if a new manufacturer comes in. So if a new manufacturer comes in and they go with a team that's already chartered right now, wow, NASCAR still got 4 charters they could put out there on the auction block to make things happen, because another manufacturer's in there, and here we go. So I could very, very likely see something like that happening, and NASCAR saying, okay, we'll put 2 of these charters out there. We're going to make this happen. And maybe this is where both these teams, RFK and this new race team, obtain a charter. It's very interesting thoughts. But outside of Dodge, here's my outlook on this. You have Spire Motorsports, who has a very strong connection to Rick Hendrick and Hendrick Motorsports. Hendrick is allowing his drivers to get into the Spire Motorsports trucks. He's putting his name on the side of these race trucks and other things. So they're investing in each other. And now you got a former partner of Spire, a man who helped build this, who's starting another team, or obtaining another team, but wants to go to 3 cars in this situation. and wants to be competitive. This is the very interesting part because he wants to be competitive in this. Otherwise, he wouldn't be getting 3 charters, or he wouldn't want 3 charters. He would want to just hold on to the 2 and maybe see the value go up and sell them. But my outlook is, if Dodge is coming into this series, what better idea than Rick Hendrick, Spire Motorsports, and the former Rick Ware all building this serious alliance? Because if you got 3 cars with the new team, you got 3 with Rick Ware, and you got 4 with Hendrick Motorsports, that's 10 cars out there on the racetrack in a huge alliance. And you'd also have these drivers that Dodge is going to go after when they come into this series, that you got these drivers in this deal like this, and everybody's sitting strong, sitting tight, and they're happy. Dodge is probably not going to lure them away. So, in my opinion, I think this is a very strategic move to form a very strong Chevrolet alliance with 3 teams and make things happen. And, Rick Hendrick has got a way of making some things happen in NASCAR, so could open up some charters, could make some things like this happen, and allow Dodge to not get some of these top drivers that they're holding on to right now with Chevrolet. But I do think maybe there will be some switching of seats, some switching of teams between these 3 teams if something like this does happen. So it's going to be very interesting altogether. But, man, I want your opinions on this. Give me your thoughts on everything right here, because this is a cool story. And as I say, man, I really think that this is going to shake up the NASCAR community more than what anybody's thinking right now. So I'm just looking forward to seeing how it all plays out. I am going to go out and do a little bit of editing and jump my ass in the pool because it is hot. My dog wants to go out, and man, I'm ready to enjoy my weekend. So hope you do the same. And man, as always, we'll see you at the checkered flag.